You're the one everyone calls when things fall apart, the calm one, the reliable one, the one who handles it. But when you're the one falling apart, you go silent. You don't ask for help. You don't even know how. And somewhere deep down, you're afraid that if you stop being strong, you might become nothing at all. Being the strong one doesn't feel like a choice anymore. It feels like a role you were assigned in your family, in your friendships, at work. You're the emotional container, the problem solver, the stable one in chaos. And at first it felt good, you were needed, but slowly something changed. You stopped sharing your fears, you minimized your struggles, you laughed things off. When someone asks, "How are you?" you say, "I'm good," even when you're not. You've trained yourself to believe that your value is in your stability. If you cry, you feel weak. If you ask for help, you feel selfish. If you struggle, you feel like you're failing your role. So you hold it together. At work, you stay composed while everyone else vents. In relationships, you become the emotional anchor, even when you're drowning. And when you finally feel overwhelmed, something strange happens. You don't reach out, you withdraw. Because who supports the strong one? This pattern isn't random, it's psychological. It's tied to identity formation, attachment dynamics, and something deeper, the way your brain learned to survive connection. But before we talk about why, we need to talk about what this strength actually is. You are not strong because you're emotionless. You are strong because you're emotionless. You are strong because you adapted. At some point, maybe very early, you learned that being steady made you safe. Maybe your household was chaotic. Maybe someone depended on you emotionally. Maybe expressing vulnerability wasn't welcomed. So your brain made a calculation. If I stay composed, I reduce risk. And it worked. Psychology calls this role-based identity formation. When a behavior gets rewarded repeatedly, praise, appreciation, reduced conflict, your brain doesn't just repeat the behavior. It builds it into your identity. You didn't just act strong. You became the strong one. And once a behavior becomes identity, letting go of it feels like losing yourself. This isn't weakness, it's conditioning. But conditioning has consequences. Let's break down what's happening in your brain. There's a system called the threat detection network, largely involving the amygdala. Its job is simple: detect danger. For some people, emotional vulnerability registers as danger, not physical danger, social danger, rejection, disapproval, loss of control. When you consider opening up, your brain doesn't say, "This might bring connection." It says, "This might destabilize your role." Over time, your brain builds a loop: vulnerability, anxiety, strength, safety. That loop gets reinforced by dopamine. Yes, dopamine. Not the party chemical, the reinforcement chemical. When you solve problems, stay composed, or rescue others, you get subtle rewards: respect, relief, validation. Your brain marks that behavior as successful, so it repeats it. This is where it becomes an addiction, not to pain, but to control. Think of your identity like a building held up by one central pillar. That pillar is strength. Every time you avoid showing need, you reinforce the pillar. But the building becomes unstable because it's supported by only one trait. The more you rely on strength, the less flexible you become. And psychologically, flexibility is health. The strongest nervous systems aren't rigid, they're adaptable. So the real problem isn't that you're strong, it's that you're only strong, and that's exhausting. But how do you loosen a role that feels like survival? Slowly, intentionally, and with understanding. We're not going to stop being strong. We're going to expand your identity. Here's how. Instead of saying, "I am the strong one," say, "I often take the strong role." In cognitive psychology, identity fusion makes behaviors rigid. By linguistically separating identity from behavior, you reduce cognitive fusion and increase flexibility. Your brain becomes less threatened by alternatives. When a friend vents, notice the urge to fix everything. Pause and think, "I'm stepping into the strong role right now." That pause creates space. Share something small but real, not your deepest trauma, just something honest. Gradual exposure reduces amygdala sensitivity. When vulnerability doesn't lead to rejection, your brain updates its threat prediction. This is called prediction error learning. Instead of "I'm fine," say, "It's been a heavy week." Then stop. Let the silence exist. Your nervous system learns that the world doesn't collapse. When someone is upset, Resist solving immediately. Ask one question instead. Your brain gets dopamine from fixing. By delaying, you weaken the reinforcement loop that equates control with reward. You also allow shared emotional processing, which builds mutuality. Instead of giving advice, say, "What part of this is hitting you the hardest?" Now you're connecting, not rescuing. Intentionally cultivate one trait that contradicts constant strength: playfulness, curiosity, softness. Personality research shows identity diversification increases psychological resilience. Multiple traits equals less collapse when one role fails. Let yourself be bad at something publicly. Take a beginner class. Laugh at mistakes. Your brain learns that imperfection doesn't equal danger. Make it measurable. One small ask. Requesting support activates social bonding circuits, oxytocin pathways, which counter stress hormones. It also challenges the belief that worth equals self-sufficiency. Ask a friend for input on a decision, or tell someone, "I could use your perspective." It will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is your brain updating. Here's the model to remember. You are not a pillar. You are a bridge. A pillar stands alone and carries weight. A bridge distributes weight across multiple supports. Being the strong one turned you into a pillar. But humans aren't designed to hold everything. Psychological health is load sharing, emotion sharing, identity sharing. Strength isn't disappearing, it's expanding, from rigid to flexible, from isolated to connected. And when you stop gripping the role so tightly, something surprising happens. People don't respect you less, they trust you more, because now you're real. You were never strong because you felt nothing. You were strong because you carried what you had to. But you don't have to carry it alone anymore. There is a version of you that is steady and soft, capable and honest, reliable and allowed to need. And maybe the strongest thing you'll ever do is let someone see you without the armor, not collapsing, not performing, just human. And that doesn't make you weaker, it makes you whole.